He was 54, 800,000 saved, and a job he was simply tired of. And one question: Tim, can I actually walk away next year? I get some version of that question every single week. And here's what most people get wrong before they even run the math. They stare at the balance. You see, the balance was never the question. Because in a few minutes, I'll give you the 3-step checklist I walk every single client through. And the trap that sinks most early retirements. I'm Tim Gardner, wealth manager at Chatham Wealth Management. 3 decades of doing this, hundreds of plans built for people sitting exactly where you are right now. So, can you retire at 55 with 800,000? Maybe. Now, I'm not trying to be cagey, but by the end of this, you'll know the 3 things that actually decide that. Step 1, get your honest number. Step 2, build the bridge. Step 3, protect your downside. The trap lives in step 3, and it's the one that almost nobody films. Let's call him David. 54, single, and he's got about $800,000 saved up. He spends about $55,000 a year, and he doesn't owe anyone a dime. Now, if you're married, run your own numbers, but the married version is actually a little easier, not harder to do. Your standard deduction roughly doubles, and so does the room under almost every ceiling I'm going to show you today. Now watch what happens when we stop looking at the 800,000 as just one number. You see, when David first asked me if 800,000 was enough, here's what I told him. David, if I give you an answer right now, before I've even seen how this is cut across different accounts, I can promise you one thing. I'm probably going to be wrong, and not just a little wrong. Wrong like 2 out of every 3 times, because the answer was never about the total. It's in how that money is allocated, not just across stocks and bonds, but across account types also. Until we take a look at that, anything I say is just simply a nice conversation. So we sat down and looked. Here's what David's 800,000 was actually made of. About 620,000 in a pre-tax 401k, another 110,000 in a brokerage account, and about 70,000 in a Roth. On top of that, a separate pot of about 45,000 in a health savings account. Hold on to that one. It's going to do some real work for us in step 2. Now watch what that mix does, because this is the whole ball game. Because you see, that 800,000 isn't 800,000. Take the 620,000 on the pre-tax side of his 401k. He's going to lose about a quarter of that right off the top to taxes. That's a debt to the IRS that's been compounding in a glass case for 30 years. And the day David starts pulling money out is the day the IRS is standing there waiting for its share. So that piece spends more, like $465,000. The $70,000 in his Roth is a different animal. The Roth isn't an account. The Roth is control. It says, I decided when I'd pay my tax, and I've paid it already. The IRS doesn't get a second bite of that apple. That $70,000 is $70,000 free and clear. Same statement, 2 completely different kinds of money. Composition is going to be total every single time. And this is exactly what the research keeps landing on. In a recent guide from Vanguard, they made the case that retirement outcomes depends not just on how much you saved, but on how well you turn that into income. The number on the statement was never the question. So the first move isn't the withdrawal rate. It's 2 honest numbers. What's the money really made of after tax, and what do you need to spend? Not your dream budget, not your scared budget, but your real budget. That baseline that you could live on and still feel good walking away. And here's the part that lets people breathe. That baseline is usually lower than the number in their head. Most people brace for this impossible mountain. Then they see the real figure, and you can just watch their shoulders drop. In a recent article from USA Today, 82% of retirees said they have enough to live comfortably. And as one researcher put it, that one magic $1 million number just doesn't fit everyone. You're probably a little closer than you think, but close only counts if you build the next 2 steps right, because retiring at 55 means your money has a job to do for 35 years, and that's not something that you map out on the back of a cocktail napkin. If you want to see your own version of this, I built a free tool called the Financial Fitness Score. About 10 minutes of your time, no statements, no personal information. It shows you actually where you stand. The link It's below in the description. David wants to retire at 55, and Social Security is years away. Heck, Medicare doesn't show up until he's 65. So we have to build a bridge across that gap, and we have to build it out of the right materials. First, the rule of 55. If you leave your job in or after the year you turn 55, you can pull from your current employer's 401k without an early withdrawal penalty. This is huge. Just make sure to check your specific plan rules first, because some employers don't allow you to take partial distributions once you leave. Here's what usually happens instead. The first thing a lot of advisors want to do the second you retire is say, hey, let's roll that 401k into an IRA. Sounds helpful now, doesn't it? But roll it into an IRA and you can lose the rule of 55. And now your own money is locked up until 59 and a half. So before anyone touches it, we ask what that account needs to do first. Next, the brokerage account. Hey, this is kind of like your Swiss Army knife. Flexible, and it doesn't count against you the way other income does. But how you hold it matters. Because keep in mind, in a taxable account, a pile of traditional actively managed mutual funds can be a major tax trap. Yes, you do get professional management, but you also get next to zero control when gains land and next to zero control over when losses are taken. The fund manager decides and you get that bill in December. Individual stocks and ETFs hand that control back to you. You decide what to sell, when, and how much gain or loss to take. And that control is the whole game, because the one line you have to stay under, the ACA cliff. Because between 55 and 65, David is buying his own health insurance, and the size of the subsidy depends upon the income to the dollar. Go $1 over the line, and that help can fall off the cliff. So we size every move to fit under that ceiling. Here's where the plan earns its keep, and where most people get hurt. Your advisor watches your investments, your CPA watches your taxes. Nobody owns the gap between them, and this bridge lives right in that gap. 55 withdrawal, the brokerage sale, and the ACA income line, they all have to be coordinated. Because you see, in this practice, the person managing the money and the person handling the taxes are actually talking to each other all year long, not just in April. And that's rare, and it shouldn't be. Healthcare from 55 to 65 is usually the showstopper. It's the thing that stops people cold when they're sitting across the table from me ready to retire. But it's solvable. It just has to be built into the income plan from day one, not discovered in year two. Remember David's $45,000 health savings account? This is where it shines. It's the only account that's tax-free in three ways. The money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and comes out tax-free, so long as you use it for health care. It won't cover his ACA premiums, but it pays for his deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses during the bridge years, and it pays for his Medicare premiums later. So hey, if you're still working, loading up this account before you walk away is one of the smartest moves still on the table. And if this is the first time anyone's connected these pieces for you, go ahead, hit like. It helps more people find this. Now here's the step nobody films. Hey, you can nail steps 1 and 2 and still get wrecked by two things: bad timing and a tax bill you created for yourself. First, bad timing. It's called sequence of returns risk, and it's simple. Two people can earn the exact same average over 30 years and end up with completely different balances, just based on when the bad years hit. A big market drop in David's first few years of retirement while he's still selling to pay his bills does damage he may never recover from. The Journal of Financial Planning put it plainly this year. Markets almost always recover, but a withdrawal taken at the bottom is gone for good. So you don't fix this by hoarding cash. You fix it by keeping a couple years of spending in very short-term bonds and highly liquid, highly stable investments. Money that's going to hold its value when the market doesn't. That way, when there's a 2 or 3 year downturn, David spends from that bucket and leaves the rest of the money to recover. He never has to sell at the worst time. Now, when people get scared about running out of money, the industry has a product ready for this exact moment: an annuity. And here's where I'm going to push back just a little bit. A lot of what gets sold is layered with fees that you're never going to find. locked up with surrender terms for years, and built so you can't see what you're paying or where your money is. Cost, no transparency. That's not protection. That's a black box. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every annuity is a trap, because that's simply not true. The simple versions can earn a spot. A plain short fixed annuity, one rate, one term, nothing buried, can be a paycheck slice of the bucket. Guaranteed money coming in to cover your essentials. Just don't put money there you might need to grab more of later, because it's not for that. This is the piece you set aside and don't touch. The second trap, between 60 and 65, David's income is usually a little bit lower. He's not working, he hasn't turned on Social Security, and his taxable income might be the lowest it'll be for the rest of his life. But if he just coasts through those years and does nothing, he's making a quiet, expensive mistake, because that untouched $620,000 pre-tax account doesn't just disappear, it grows. And later, in your 70s, the government forces you to start pulling money out in a bracket that could be higher than where you are right now. Do nothing, and you're kicking the can down the road straight into a bigger tax bill. The fix is to use the low income years on purpose. This is where Roth conversions come in, filling up those lower brackets while you're still in a cheaper tax bracket. Pay wholesale today instead of retail tomorrow. Vanguard's research found that more than 80% of people would benefit from doing conversions as a part of their plan, and that simply pulling from your accounts in the right order can cut your lifetime tax bill by around 14%. That's not a rounding error. That's years of spending. That's the difference between $800,000 that spends like $600,000 and one that finally spends like the whole $800,000. So, can you retire at 55 with $800,000? The honest answer is the balance was never the question. Get your numbers honest. Build your bridge and protect your downside. You do these three things and the answer is a lot closer to yes than the internet wants you to believe. So run yourself through the financial fitness score in the description. And if you want a checklist I use for the bridge years, I've got a free download called the 2026 Retirement Bridge Strategy right there too. And if any of this hits a little close to home, that's exactly what we do for our clients. And we're taking on new clients right now. Come on and say hello. One of the biggest risks of retiring at 55 is making a mistake with your current coverage that comes back to haunt you at 65. I made a video called "Is Your Employer Coverage Setting You Up for a Medicare Disaster?" And you should watch it right now to make sure your early retirement bridge doesn't lead straight into a Medicare trap. I'm Tim Gardner, and I'll see you in the next video.